Chapter 28. Poppy, look, Lily said it's Albert's cat. The Orbans must have kept him after Albert went back to Canada. Lily climbed the boardwalk steps slowly as the cat stood there, moving back a step each time she moved forward. It's me, Lily said, her hand out, reaching. Don't you remember? And then the cat was in her arms, its orange coat short and rough and warm from the sun. Lily bent her head, rubbing her chin against the cat's head, listening to the sound of its rusty purring. She thought of Albert and last summer and Ruth. Now the church bells were chiming 5. Lily followed Poppy along the path to the house. Graham had opened the door in the window on the porch. Blowing the winter out, she said, looking up, and here's Albert's cat. Still holding the cat, Lily wandered out to the porch and leaned on the screen. She smelled the bay and listened to the water lapping against the pilings. Someone was fishing from a rowboat, probably one of the kids from Broad Channel. Lily raised her arms to wave and smiled as the girl waved back. Under her feet, the porch floor was gritty. Any minute, Graham would be calling, telling her to give it a quick sweep and find the sheets and get her bed ready. Lily reached for her book and flipped through until she found the star. She had taken it off her ceiling last night as she packed. She put a dab of glue on it and posted it behind her bed with the others, smiling a little. Then she went into the kitchen for the broom. It's Friday night, Graham said over her shoulder. The Orbans want us to come for dinner. Wash your face, and... Lily didn't wait to hear the rest. Mrs. Orban would know about Albert and Ruth. She went into the bathroom quickly to comb her hair and run water over her hands. The water came in spurts at first, the way it always does after the winter. Lily leaned forward to look in the mirror, wondering if she looked different this year. She closed her eyes, remembering that Friday night last summer, getting ready to go to the Orbans, and Graham holding the washcloth over her red eyes after she cried for Poppy. And then she thought about Albert with his dark hair and blue eyes. If only Albert were here. Lily thought about her problem list for the first time in a long time. Lies and daydreaming and friends need. She didn't lie anymore. Every time she started to lie, she thought of Albert and closed her mouth. She still daydreamed, though. Sister Benedicta had told her that all writers did that, and that as long as you knew the difference between lies and daydreams, you were in good shape. Now Graham was knocking at the bathroom door. Poppy's gone down to the Orbans ahead of us, she said, and if you don't hurry in there, the dinner will be ruined. They're all waiting. Lily made a face in the mirror, then scooped up a handful of water for her face. I'm ready, she said. Ready now. They walked down to the Orbans on the roadside, the tufts of bright grass against the sand. Lily carrying the cat along with her. Halfway down the road, Lily could smell the fish cooking. She could hear Poppy talking and the rumble of Mr. Orban's voice. Mr. Orban's Ford was in the driveway, the headlights still painted black. She'd help him scrape them off first thing tomorrow. Graham was looking toward her and leaned over suddenly to kiss Lily's cheek. It was a long war, a terrible war, she said. But sometimes, even in the worst times, something lovely happens. What? Lily began. She reached up to feel her cheek, the first time she could ever remember Graham kissing her when it wasn't time to leave for school or go to bed. She put her arms around Graham. Shradavak, she whispered so softly. She didn't even know if Graham had heard. And then she saw that Graham was pointing, nodding at her and smiling. Lily looked toward the Orban's house, almost knowing what she was going to see, not believing it could really happen. That it wasn't just Mrs. Orban waiting at the door. She thought about the cat. Of course Albert had kept the cat. That means, and there he was with the same mop of dark hair and those bright blue eyes, and next to him a girl with the same eyes, and she was smiling too. Lily stopped to kiss Graham, and then she was walking toward them, feeling a little shy, but only for a moment because Albert was pulling Ruth down the steps, and she could hear him saying, "It's Lily, it's my best friend Lily." Dear reader, I truly hope you've enjoyed reading Lily's story. It seems that Lily's world has always been in my head. I've wanted to write about that world for years. Rockaway Beach, the Atlantic Ocean, ships streaming in convoys toward Europe, and the Second World War were part of my childhood. I remember the summer of 1944, remember the invasion and the news of the Allied armies as they marched across France and liberated Paris later that August. I remember the fears of that time and how personal it all was. I was surprised that other people, sometimes even adults, thought about the same things I did and had much of the same worries. But most of all, I remember that friendship. in the secret world of childhood, added comfort and joy, and was the very texture of my life. I've written about friendship before, but in a lighthearted way, laughing as I've worked through the lives of Casey, Tracy, and company in the Polk Street Kids. But this time I want to explore what happens to people as they forge a relationship in a more serious way. I wanted to tell my readers that even though the times are different now, people have always worried about the same things: loss and separation, the future, and sometimes war. I want readers to know that love and friendship make a difference. Patricia Riley Giff. It's a letter from the author.